Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really critical issue for any modern data center: vendor lock-in. You know, that situation where the convenience of a simple subscription, well, it starts to look a lot more like a strategic trap.
Okay, before we really get into it, just a quick heads up. This is part 6 of a 10-part series, and it's a brief look at a really comprehensive research report. So since we're just scratching the surface here, it's super important to remember this is not legal advice, and it doesn't come with any kind of warranty. We're just breaking down the ideas from the report.
So let's just kick things off with a pretty pointed question, right? When you think about your most critical infrastructure, the stuff you absolutely can't live without, is your subscription vendor actually empowering you? Or are they quietly building a cage around you? And that question leads us right here to what the source material for this explainer calls the hostage dilemma. It's this fascinating paradox where the very technologies that are supposed to give you all this flexibility actually end up taking it away.
Okay, so the whole thing really hinges on this idea of vendor lock-in. And let's be clear, this is way more than just being a loyal customer who likes a product. We're talking about a situation where switching to anybody else becomes so outrageously expensive, so technically complicated that it's practically off the table. And when that happens, guess who holds all the cards? Yep, the vendor.
So you might be wondering, how does this even happen? How do you end up in this digital prison? Well, it's not something that happens overnight. It's built brick by brick. And the research we're looking at identifies 4 key walls that are used to build it. So let's break down those 4 walls. First up, you've got limited interoperability. Think proprietary formats for your VMs, your storage, basically making it a huge pain to move your stuff anywhere else. Then wall number 2, ecosystem dependencies. All those critical tools you rely on, backup, monitoring, automation, they're all designed to work with one specific platform. Wall 3 is proprietary management. The vendor's unique interface becomes the lifeblood of your daily operations. And finally, you put it all together and you get wall number 4, sky-high migration barriers. The cost to retrain everyone, retest everything, and redesign your processes, it's just astronomical.
And this goes so much deeper than just the off-the-shelf software. Think about the thousands of hours your own teams pour into this stuff. They're writing custom scripts, building these intricate integrations using the vendor's proprietary APIs. That's a massive investment of time and talent. It creates this huge technical debt that literally chains you to that one platform.
Yeah, and this image just nails it, doesn't it? It shows you it's not one simple chain you can just break. It's a spider web, a super complex, tangled web of dependencies. Cloud services, automation scripts, third-party tools, and everything traces back to that one vendor. Trying to untangle that? Wow, it's a massive, massive undertaking.
Okay, so we've seen how the trap is built. Now let's talk about the moment the trap springs shut. The source material calls this the access control trap. And this is where that theoretical risk of being locked in becomes a sudden, very real 5-alarm fire.
And it all boils down to this one simple question. With the old way of buying software, you owned it, right? It would keep running. But with a subscription, what happens if you just stop paying? Maybe there's a billing dispute. Maybe your budget gets slashed. Or maybe you've just had enough and you don't want to renew. What happens then?
Well, this is what happens. Suddenly the game completely changes. Your access to manage your own infrastructure, it's no longer a right. It becomes a privilege. A privilege the vendor can revoke the second your subscription ends. I mean, think about that. Your systems might still be running, but you are completely locked out of managing them. So what does this do? It creates an insane amount of leverage for the vendor. Just put yourself in that situation. You're heading into a contract renewal knowing that if you don't agree to whatever terms they put on the table, no matter how bad they are, they can flip a switch and you can't even manage your own data center. You're basically forced to say yes just to keep the lights on. This whole situation creates a massive, totally one-sided power dynamic. And because of that, getting out of the trap isn't just about money. It's a logistical nightmare. The timing, the planning, it's incredibly difficult. And just look at this breakdown. It shows you exactly how lopsided this is. On one side, the vendor. For them, it's easy. At any renewal period, they can threaten to cut you off. Simple. On the other side, you've got the customer. That's you. You're looking at a project that could take months, maybe even years to pull off. It's like you're in a race and the other guy is holding the stopwatch. And this is where it gets really scary, because you're vulnerable to things that are completely out of your control, right? What happens if your vendor gets bought out and the new owners decide to triple the price?
Or what if they just change their business strategy? All that money, all that time you invested, poof, it becomes a sunk cost and there's not much you can do about it.
So when you boil it all down, what's the real result? It's a fundamental loss of control, a loss of autonomy. And the really insidious part is that it happens so slowly you might not even notice. What started as a convenient subscription gradually, layer by layer, morphs into this deep dependency that handcuffs your strategy.
Which brings us right back to where we started. We've walked through how this vendor lock-in really works, how the trap is set, and so I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. When you're looking at your own infrastructure, at your own subscriptions, what price are you truly willing to pay to stay in control?